Dear students, let us continue learning the course Data Structures and Applications. So we are in the fifth session of the module 1. In this session, we are going to cover the topic array operations. Myself, Dr. Suresh Adi from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of Kendra Engineering College, Bantwal, Mangalore. The basic array operation will be the traversing the array. Traversing the array is nothing but accessing or processing the each element in the array exactly once. Let A be an array which is a collection of elements stored in the memory of the computer. And if the elements of the array need to be printed or counted visiting exactly once the element of an array, this we call it as a traversing. Traversing is nothing but accessing or processing the each element of the array exactly once. That processing is nothing but it may be counting or we may be printing the element of the array. Suppose I want to find the average of the elements in the array. So how it can be performed? We take the each element of the array, we add them. At the end, we find the total sum divided by number of elements in the array. That will be called as the traversing. That is, each time we visit the element of the array exactly once. So this is nothing but traversing the array. Let us consider an example algorithm for traversing the array using the while loop. So in this algorithm, we are using three different variables. LA stands for the name of the array, which stands for linear array. LB stands for the lower bound on the array. UB stands for the upper bound in the array. Lower bound means your starting index in the array, and UB is your upper bound, means last element in the array will be the have the index UB. We are calling it as a UB over here. So process is an operation which will be performed on the element of the array. So the algorithm is designed in the 5 steps over here. The first step is to initialize your k variable to the lower bound. The lower bound in most of the cases for you in your lab programs, you might have used the lower bound as 0. But it is not so. You can use any value for the lower bound. That is your starting index in the array which you are processing. Then next, the steps 3 and the 4 will be repeated as long as k is less than or equal to the upper bound. Once that value of k crosses the upper bound, we are going to break this loop. Step 3 is we process the element in the array LA at the index k. LA of k. What we are doing over here, it may be addition, it may be printing, or it may be counting. That will be your process operation. We process the element from the array LA at the index k. Then I need to go to the next index. How to go to the next index? K equal to k plus 1 and go to step 2. So these steps, in the step 2, again we compare the k with the upper bound. Once that k crosses upper bound, we are going to break the loop. Fine. So this is an algorithm which uses while loop for traversing the array. Let us consider the next type of loop, is your for loop. The same operation can be done using the for loop, that is repeat for k equal to lower bound. That is your starting index value for k will be your lower bound to upper bound. The final index value will be your upper bound in steps of 1. So if you won't specify anything, means the incremental step will be 1. Apply processing, as I told earlier, it may be printing, it may be counting, it may be adding. To LA of k, that is array, from the array LA at the index k. Fine, so this will repeat till the value of k is less than or equal to upper bound. Once that k crosses upper bound, we are going to exit from the loop. Let us consider one example over here. Suppose there is a variable called auto, which is an array, which is having a record of number of automobiles sold in each year from the year 1932 to 1984. So what is our lower bound over here? Lower bound is a 1932. What is our upper bound? Upper bound is a 1984. What is the problem in hand? We need to find the number of years during which more than 300 automobiles were sold. So how to perform this one? I need to count how many years the automobiles are sold more than 300. So how to do this one? The counter I will start with 0, number equal to 0. Repeat for k equal to 1932, which is the lower bound in my operation, to 1984, which is my upper bound. Then automobile of k, that is the value at that index k. If it exceeds 300, then the number equal to number plus 1, or else we won't increment the value of the number. End of the loop. Fine. So now this will count in how many years we have an automobile sales of more than 300 over there. Fine. So this is how we go for traversing the array. Then the next operation on the arrays will be inserting the element to the array. So inserting the element can be done at any index of the array. Inserting at the end will be simple one, but inserting in the middle is a somewhat complicated one because it involves shifting down. It involves a shifting down. Suppose look at the elements over here. The elements, the names are Brown, Davis, Johnson, Smith, Wagner. Suppose I want to insert an element zebra over there. Then where it is to be inserted? At the index value 6, it is to be inserted. So no need to shift anything. Directly I can go for the index value 6 and I can put my element over there. In place of zebra, if I want to insert Ford over there, so Ford will come in between Davis and the Johnson. In between the letters D and the J, F will come. So I need to insert at the index value of 3. But what is there at the index value of 3? Johnson is there. So Johnson at the index 3 is to be shifted to 4. Smith at the index 4 is to be shifted to index 5. Wagner at the index 5 is to be shifted to the index 6 over there. That is, in general, if I take the value at the index n, n means what? Your last element. Let me copy it to j. So now j is at the index value 5. I need to shift that element to j plus 1. Again, I need to decrement the j value. That is, from 5, I need to go to 4. Then that is to be shifted to 5. If you generalize this one, the j value will take its initial value from 5. That is our last index. It is to be shifted to j plus 1. Every time j need to be decremented by 1. How long we have to repeat it? Till I go to the index 3. Let the index 3, let me call it as a k over there. So that is a till it reaches k, we need to keep on shifting. Once it reaches goes below k, we need to exit our routine, and that k index value is now free. I need to put my element over there. The same thing has been demonstrated using algorithm over here. Now you can look. The initial value for the j will be equal to n. In the previous case, you might have seen it is equal to 5. Repeat the process 3 and 4 as long as j greater than or equal to k. Once the j becomes less than k, we need to break this element. How the shifting will be done? The value at the j is copied to j plus 1. How to move to the next element? J equal to j minus 1. So this will be keep on repeating till the condition at the line number 2, step 2 fails. Once that step 2 fails, we will go to the line number 5 over there, wherein the element which need to be copied is copied to the index value k. Now, what about the number of elements? Earlier it was n. Now one more element was added. Now the value of n will be equal to n plus 1. The next operation on the arrays will be the deletion. So similar to that of your insertion, if the element at the end is to be deleted, then that will be simple one. N equal to n minus 1 we can make up. If I need to delete an element in between, then what happens? All the rest of the elements need to be shifted up. Let us consider the same example again. I want to delete the element at the index 2. Now what need to be done? Element at the index 3 is to be shifted to 2. Element at the 4 is to be shifted to 3. Element at 5 is to be shifted to 4. Element at 6 is to be shifted to 5. Element at 7 is to be shifted to 6. Means we need to move up over there. So to have the move up, we start at the index j plus 1 over there. That is, if my index value is k, then I will start with the movement of the element from j equal to k. Then from j plus 1, I will copy it to j. I will keep on repeating this process. At the end, what will I do? The number of elements, n, will be decremented by 1. The same thing is demonstrated in this algorithm, you can see. We take the element which need to be deleted at the index k to the variable called item. The next j equal to k to n minus 1. Now now what is the value of j? J is a k over there. The element need to be deleted. Now the value at j plus 1 is copied to j. So this process keep on repeating. So how long? Till it reaches n minus 1. So n minus 1 plus 1, that is n. The value at n is copied over there to the location n minus 1. So now what about the number of elements? That will be decremented by 1, n equal to n minus 1 over there. I hope it is clear. Then the next operation will be the sorting the element of the arrays. So sorting is nothing but rearranging the elements of the array. So what is rearranging over there? It may be an ascending order or it may be descending order over there. So let us consider the example. The number of elements are unsorted. Let the elements be 8, 4, 19, 2, 7, 13, 5, 16. I want to sort these elements in the ascending order. Then what will be my result? 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 13, 16 and the 19. Right? For this sorting, there are many algorithms are there. For your syllabus, we are considering the bubble sort algorithm. Let us look how this will work. So now the input for this algorithm will be the list of the elements, data, and the number of elements will be there in the n. Repeat the process from k equal to 1 to n minus 1. Every time we take the large element in that one and we'll keep it at the n minus 1. That is, we go on keeping the elements over there. Initially, we start with the index value 1. We keep on repeating till that index value ptr is less than or equal to n minus k. So if the element at the first location is higher than the element at the second location, then we go for exchanging the elements. Simple logic we are applying. If the element at the first location is higher than the element at the second location, we will exchange. So that the higher element will be moved to the second location, lower element is moved to the first location. At the end, what happens? The highest element will be taken and that element will be there at the end. Next time k will be incremented. Means the next higher element will be taken and it will be placed at the end minus 1. So next higher element will be taken, that will be placed at the high minus 1. So like that, this loop works. So this is how the sorting works. Fine. So now let us consider the example. These are the list of the element 32, 51, 27, 85, 66, 23, 13, 57. First what happens? 32 is less than 51. Condition is whether the 32 is less than 51. Yes, no need to change. Next elements 51 is compared with the 27. Does the 51 is less than 27? No. Now what I need to do? I need to exchange. 27 is copied over here. 51 will be here. So now this is exchanged. 51 is 85. Yes, 81 is higher. No need to exchange. Next, 66 with 85. 85 is higher one. Exchange it. Then next, 85 with 23. 85 is higher. Exchange. Then again, 85 with 13. Yes, 13 is lower, 85 is higher, exchange. Then next, 85 and the 57. 85 is higher, so exchange. So now what happens? 85 will be placed at the end. Now K is incremented. So next loop we consider till year, 32, 27. 27, 51, 32, 57. What happens? 27 will come here, 32 will come here. Next, what happens? 51, 32. 51 will be retained there, 32 will be over here. 51, 66. 66 will be retained there, 51. 66, 23. So exchange. 66, 13. Exchange. 66, 57. Exchange. So 66 will come here. So next, the arrange the elements, rest of the elements. This is how your bubble sort works. Every time we take the large element and we place it at the end of the list. So like that the bubble sort works. If we go for comparing the complexity of this one, if you remember, in the first iteration, we take all the elements except the last element. Last but one is compared to the last element. That is n minus 1 comparisons we made. In the next operation, n minus 2 comparisons were made. In the next operation, n minus 3 comparisons will be made. So like that, if you go on repeating this one, it will be lost only one comparison will be made. So if you go with your mathematics of this one, this can be written as n into n minus 1 by t, 2. So if you go for expanding this one, n square minus n divided by 2, which is obviously less than n square, which is obviously less than big of n square. That is your complexity for arranging the elements using bubble sort is a big O of n square. Next, searching. So searching is nothing but finding a key element in the array. Finding the key element in the array, we call it as the search operation on the array. Fine. So that is, in this case, data is the collection of elements in the memory, and in specific, I want to search the item. The name of the item is a item only from the array data, so which is there at the location LOC over there. Assume there are 5 elements are there in the list. So what are the number of comparisons I need to make? 5 plus 1, 6 will be my worst case comparisons over there. Fine. Let us take the simple example of the linear search over here. Fine. So first element, the array is your data. I need to search for item. Fine. So that search item, I will copy it at the last location. So means if no match is found, then it is found at the last value. Up to n, you have your values. N plus 1, I am copying so that if it is unsuccessful, then I will have the comparison at the end. Fine. So I will start with the index value 1 over here. So how long I need to repeat this one? 2 cases over here. Till that location is element at the location will not match it with the item, this will be repeated. Fine. Then next, each time location is incremented by 1. Then at the end, I will check the location value. If it is n plus 1, means the element was not there in my list. It was there out of my list, which I have inserted over here, n plus 1. In that case, I will set that location counter as 0, means no match is found. If not, I will go to that location, the element is present. Fine. It's in a simple search. This we call it as the linear search. This we call it as the linear search over there, wherein we try to find the item in the list. The name of the list is data over there. Fine. If the match is found at n plus 1, so n plus 1, as you see here in the line number 1, what happens? We are copying it to the n plus 1, so that if it reaches the location n plus 1, means it is unsuccessful. If the value of LOC is any other value other than n plus 1, then it is successful, or else it is unsuccessful over there. The complexity of the linear search is n. That is, maximum of n plus 1 comparison will be made for the worst case. On an average, if you take up the middle element, that is n plus 1 divided by 2 will be your complexity. that many comparisons I need to make to find my element in the array. Fine. Then let us go for the next popular type of searching mechanism, that is binary search. Binary search is applied when the elements in our array are sorted. When the elements in my array are sorted, then the binary search is applied. Assume the elements are sorted in the ascending order. Let us consider the case. The elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5. I want to search for 4 over there. The elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5. I want to search for 4. So what we will do is we will find the middle element in that array. What is my middle element? 3. Does 4 is above 3? Yes. In that case, we won't search the first half. Instead, we search the second half. The second half elements are 3, 4, and the 5. Again, we find the middle element. What is the middle element? 4. 4 is matched with the 4. Yes, it is a match. So we give the unsuccessful search. Or else we will give the successful search. Or else we will give the unsuccessful search over there. Fine. This is how the binary search works. For the binary search, prerequisite is your sorted array. The array is to be sorted before applying the search operation. How it will work? Fine. It is a simple algorithm. Beginning will be your lower bound, ending will be your upper bound. We find the middle element, beginning plus ending divided by 2. Take the integral part of it, integer of beginning plus end divided by 2. Then how long this will be repeated? Beginning is less than or equal to ending, and data in the middle not matches with the item. If any one of this condition fails, then we go for unsuccessful case. Fine. So then we go for your unsuccessful or the successful case. So if the first condition fails, that is a beginning less than end. If this condition fails, means it is unsuccessful. If this condition fails, means what? If data at the made equal to your item, then it is a successful case. So how we will do? If the item is less than the middle item, then we need to find the items in the first half. How to do this one? That is a beginning will be equal to your ending will be mid minus 1. What was our ending earlier? Ending was your upper bound. Now we shift the ending point to the first half. First half will be your mid minus 1. Or else, what is the else case? Item less than the item is greater than the middle item. Then what we'll do? Begin. We have to search in the second half. For searching the second half, beginning will be equal to mid plus 1. So this will make the first half. This will make the second half over there. Then next, we will every time what we'll do? Mid will be equal to beginning plus ending divided by 2. So now this process will be repeated. Once we come out of the step 2, then we have the two options. If the element at the middle equal to your item, then we say that it is successful, or else we say that it is unsuccessful over here. So if we go for measuring the complexity of this binary search, every time we are searching half of elements over there. Every time first will be your out of 5 elements, we find the middle element. Again in the second half or the first half we will take. Again we will find the middle element. So this will be repeated. Means every time the size will be reduced by 2. So size getting reduced by 2 is nothing but your logarithmic complexity. So the complexity of binary search is a log n base 2. So this will be your complexity of the binary search. So these are the textbooks from where the material is prepared. These are the prescribed textbooks of your syllabus. If you have any doubt on this topic, we will discuss them in your online classes. Thank you.